All right, we're going to talk a little bit about note reading. Note reading is one of those things that's actually very simple, but you just need to do it enough times and enough times on enough days in a row for it to really become simple. Eventually, you'll read it just like you read words. You don't really think about all those words that you're reading. You just look at them and your brain has already figured it out because it's done it so many times. Same thing with note reading. It's exactly the same thing that's going to happen. So let's take a quick look at this. I'm taking a look at this note right here. And when I look at that note right there, I'll zoom in a little bit. I notice that there's going to be three things about that note that I need to get out of looking at that little notation or that little piece of information right there. Okay, so when I look at that note, I'm going to look at number one. I want to know what is the name of that note. I want to know what the name of that note is. Number two, I want to know how to play that note. How do I play that note? How do I make that note sound on my instrument, the correct note sound on my instrument? Number three, I need to know how long do I play that note? And those are the main three things we're going to be getting at toward the beginning of our playing. So let's take a look at this note right here. As I look at it, I say I need to know the name of the note. Well, we got all these lines and spaces. And so if you remember back to fourth grade, we did some of this. And I want to point out on the top of your the top of your 5 and 7 note scale page, you have all this information written there. Reminder, for line notes, we say every good boy does fine. For space notes, we say FACE. Well, where does that come from? Well, you may remember that we have a musical alphabet. And the musical alphabet basically is A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Now, instead of writing it A, B, C, D, E, F, G, instead of writing it left to right, we're actually going to write it from bottom to top. And I'm going to write A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And that's how we do the musical alphabet. If you go above that, then you start the musical alphabet over again with another A. A, B, C, D, E, F, G going up. If you're going down in the alphabet, G, F, E, D, C, B, A, you would start over going down. G, F, E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A. So that is the musical alphabet. Now, how does that work on our music that we're looking at? Well, let's take a look again. On the treble clef, now the treble clef is for everybody except for trombones and baritones right now. So the treble clef sign looks like this. You should have learned it in fourth grade. And notice there are 5 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. There are 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. Right? So we got 5 lines and we got 4 spaces, and we got to figure out which one's which. So let me do this real quickly over on this page. And here we go. I'm going to draw those same 5 lines and 4 spaces just a little bit bigger. Okay, so there's our 5 lines and 4 spaces. And on a treble clef, if we put the treble clef sign on there, then what it's going to be is, we're going to say, what's the difference between a line note and a space note? My stand keeps moving. All right, so when I put a note like right here, well, you go, is that a line note or is that a space note? The answer is look in the middle. All right, you look in the middle. Do you see a line? It's a line note. So here we go. That's a line note. Well, let's take a look at this note right here. Look in the middle. Is that a line note? Nope, there's no line, so we call that a space note. One of the tricks you're going to be seeing now, though, is some of these notes are filled in. All right, like a quarter note is filled in. Well, it doesn't matter. If the line still goes through the middle of that note, we call that a line note. If it doesn't go through the middle note, we call that a space note. So let's take a look again at, where were we? Oh, we're actually over here. We're taking a look at this note right here. And this note right here, is it a line note or a space note? Well, if it's a space note, which it is, we are going to say something different than if it's a line note. Why? Let me go ahead and show you this too. Musical alphabet goes A, B, C, D. The bottom line is E. The next space is F. The next line is G. Next space is A, because we start the alphabet over. B, C, D, E, F, G, A, and it keeps on going up from there. So you use the same alphabet over and over and over. So take a look at that. Well, instead of going, that's a E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, we just learned that, guess what? The space notes right here, 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 here. If you go if you take the space notes and go from the bottom up, we say, for the space notes, we say face, F-A-C-E. It happens to spell face. Face rhymes with space. Line notes, we say every good boy does fine. Fine rhymes with line, and we're just going to use the first letter of each of these words. And this one actually happens to spell the word. So let's take a look at that. So here we go. We take a look at this one, and this is the note we were looking at a while ago. It's a space note. And so we go from the bottom up, and we spell the word face. F-A-C-E. Well, that means that any note in that space up there, those are all going to be E notes, and we call them E. That's a capital E. E, that's the name of that note. Okay, so that works for space notes. This one would be F-A. Anything in there would be an A. Those are all A's in there. But what about line notes? Well, for line notes, for treble clef, we say, every, whoops, can you see that? Sorry. Every good boy does fine, to help us remember E, G, B, D, F. So let's take a look at that. Here we go. Go from the bottom up. Every good boy does fine. Every good boy. Stopped on B because that's the note. That's the line that note is on, and so that's going to be a B note. And every note on that line is going to be a B note. Okay. All right. Now, the same thing is true of the bass clef for the trombones and the baritones. The only difference is that you have to say something different. The same concept works, you just have to say it differently. So there we go. Let's take a look. In this case, for the trombones, it's going to be trombones. For line notes, we say, good boys do fine always. For space notes, we say, all cows eat grass. And all we care about is that first letter you see underlined there. Remember, it's going to be on your 5-note scale if you ever forget this. Good boys do fine always. All cows eat grass. All right, well, let's take a look at that. So if I put a note like this right here, first question, is it a line or space? Well, I look in the middle. That's a line note. What do I say for lines? I say not every good boy is fine. For bass clef, we say good boys do fine always. Go from the bottom up. Good boys do fine. So that note's going to be a capital F. That note's an F, that note's an F, that note's an F, that note's an F. This note right here, you can barely see that, huh? Sorry about that. There we go. This note right here is a space note. What do we say for spaces on the bass clef? We say all cows eat grass. So here we go. All, is it in the bottom space? Nope. Cows, yep. So that means it's a C. So every note in this little space here is going to be a C, 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 over and over and over and over again. Okay? All right. So at this point, it should be pretty easy for you to be able to figure out the names of the notes. Let's come back here. Well, this happens to be a treble clef note. This happens to be a treble clef note right here. And we go, is that a line note or a space note? Well, it's a space note. There's no line in the middle. What do I say for space notes in the treble clef? I say face, F-A-C-E, and I go from the bottom space up, F-A-C-E. So that note is a C. So I know that that's the name of the note is a C note. Okay? On the bass clef, it would be something like this. There we go. On the bass clef, let's take this note. And guess what? It's the same note, but let's see what it looks like. Because again, we're in the bass clef. And so here we go. This note is a space note as well. And for space notes in the bass clef, we say all cows eat grass. All cows eat grass. So that's going to be a C for all cows. Okay? All right. So let's keep going. So there's 3 things we need to know. We need to know the name of the note, which we now can figure out the name of the note, but it's going to take you a long time at the beginning to go really slowly and figure out the name of the note. Next, you need to know how to play that note. And this is where we get kind of hung up sometimes. We don't make the connection of the name of the note and the note that we play. So let me take you through all of these different instruments here real quickly and just show you a couple of these real quickly. All right, so if we take a look, let's take a look at this number 25, and this is the song that most of you did for your October test. And I'm going to zoom in just a bit. Let's take a look here at this note in the fourth measure for everybody. So in this case, this is a flute. Flute is a treble clef instrument. So we see the treble clef, and so we say, is that a line or a space? That is a space note. For space notes in the treble clef, I go F, A, C, E. That is a C. Well, if you go back to your 5-note scale, you should know how to play a C, which in the flute's case is going to be a first finger and a pinky. One pinky should be for the C. So now I know the name of the note, and I know how to play it. Let me go through these real quick here. For the clarinets, here we are right here, this note right here. Clarinets and trumpets, you have one little extra thing to think about. Sometimes we go below the staff. Now the alphabet goes line, space, line, space, line, space. So when we go down, same thing. That one is easy because it's every good boy does fine. That's an E. But now this one below there is the space below there. That means it's the next letter below it in the alphabet. E, D, and then this little line through this one's called a ledger line. So this would be a C, E, D, C. So we got to get good at reading those and going, wait a second, every time I see that bottom line, it's an E. Every time I see that bottom line, it's an E. Every time I see a space below this, it's a D. Every time I see a line below that, that one ledger line, I call it a C. Eventually, we're going to learn some more notes down here, but right now, that's it. Right now, that's it at the beginning, okay? All right, so in this case, we're over here on this note, and this note here, it's the E is the line up here, so the note below that's going to be a D. How do you play it on a clarinet? Well, a clarinet would be with your left hand, be a thumb, 1, 2, and that's how you play that note. I can now figure out the name of the note, and I can go back to my 5-note scale if I don't know how to finger that note. The alto saxophone, here we go. That note right here, line or space, it's a space. What do we say for spaces? Face, F, A, C, E. That is an A. Saxophone, how we play that? Just the 1 and the 2, right? The thumb is on that little pad on the back, 1 and a 2. On the trumpet, same thing we did with the clarinet. Same thing we did with the clarinet. That is the note below the E line, every good boy does fine, so that's the space D below that. How do we play it on a trumpet? We play it by using the first finger and the third finger, 1 and 3. I know the name of it, and I know what finger to play. Where'd my trombone go? Got one more here. The trombone, which is the bass clef sign, and that note right here is a space note. Happens to be, which a space note on the bass clef, we'd say all cows eat grass. And so we go all cows, C. Well, I know that C is 6th position. That means my arm is fully extended all the way out. My arm is fully extended, C6. So when we say C6, we're talking about the 6th position. And there are actually 7 positions, but right now we've only learned 4 of them at the beginning of the year. 1, 3, 4, and 6. Okay? All right, and then the last one here would be bells, and the bells here have a line note. And what note is that? Well, that is that same thing like the trumpets we're doing and the trumpets and the clarinets we're doing. Here's our E flat, and then below that's going to be a D and then a C. So there's our little line note C. I know that's a C, and to play a C, I know with my mallets, I know it's going to be my right hand is on the D, my left hand is on the C. So that's going to be a C, touch it with my left. Most of the bells actually have them written on there at the beginning as well, which makes that a little bit easier. Okay, so here we go. Let's go back. Do I know, number 1, the name of the note? That's simple. That's stuff from 4th grade. Every good boy does fine, F-A-C-E. In the treble clef is a line or a space. In the bass clef, good boys do fine always. And all cows eat grass. Go back to your 5-note scale. It's up there at the top. Secondly, do I know how to play that? Again, go to your 5-note scale. The 5-note scale has all that information. We have filled it in correctly for you, as well as you can see that same information on the red book, page 6, and then page 8 with the first 5 notes, and then 10 and 11 with the next 2 notes after that. The only thing left is, how long do I play that note? So let's take a look at this note right here. here we are back to the flute part here. And I look at that note and I go, oh, it's a space note, F-A-C-E. And I know how to play a C note. That's a 1 and a pinky. And then after that, I got to know how long to play it. And we've been counting the rhythms. The rhythms are pretty easy. These are quarter notes, and they get 1 beat each. But this is a half note. It gets 2 beats. So on this note, I'd be playing it for 2 beats. 1, 2, rest on 3 and 4. Yeah? So you've got 3 seals going on, and you just have to do them over and over enough, slowly enough, to make sure that you get them, and then your brain will actually start remembering this stuff. We call it, there's brain memory and muscle memory, and they'll actually both start doing really well. The problem is the brain doesn't like to remember for very long. The muscles don't like to remember for very long, so we have to do it over and over and over until they do that without you having to worry about it. Just like learning to walk or riding a bike or anything else. After a while, your brains and your muscles do it all on their own without you having to think about it. Okay? All right, let's take a look at the first measure of everybody's number 25. So here we go. We're in the flute part, treble clef. That means every good boy does fine, F-A-C-E. So 1, name of the note, every good boy, that's a B flat. Now the reason I want to point this out is for flutes and trombones, you have another flat over here. You have another flat over here called an E flat. Just because it's got a flat and that's got a flat, it does not make them the same notes, because that is not on every good boy. That's on a space, F-A-C-E. So that is an E flat, and for flutes, an E flat is thumb, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, pinky, right? And then the B flat is thumb, 1, 4, pinky, right? That is what the B flat is. So this is important. I've got to go, wait, that's a B flat, that's an E flat, because I've got to know the name of the note first. So I know that's a B flat. Oh, there's a B flat, right? There's one way over here at the end that's a B flat as well. So B flat, how many beats? That's 1 beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So I know it's a B flat, thumb, 1, 4, pinky. This, space note, because there's no line going through it, F-A-C-E, C is a space note, and so I could go, how do I play C? 1 and pinky, right? So B flat, thumb, 1, 4, pinky, C, 1 pinky. What is this one? Well, it's a every good boy does. It's a D. It's a D. How do I play a D? Thumb, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Back to C. There's a B flat, there's a B flat, there's a C, because they're in the same space, they're on the same line. So again, once you're just learning these 5 notes, it doesn't take long before your brain starts going, oh, 4th line, that's a D. Okay? B flat, C, D, C, B flat. Now, how long will it take you to get to that point? Oh, probably a couple of weeks where you can get to go that quickly. But guess what? If you do that, a week later, you'll actually be going even faster than that, and then we'll add a new note or 2. It's not a problem. Okay, let's take a look at the flute part. Clarinet part. Same, it looks exactly like the trumpet part, so we'll take a look at both of those real quick. C, there's a line through that. Every is the E, is the bottom line of the staff, and we're coming below that. There's the space D, and there is the ledger line C. It's the only one that's got a single little line through it. We call it a ledger line. It's an extra line below the staff. C, and then look at this one, go and below the staff, E, backwards in the alphabet, D. C, D, every good boy does fine, E, every, bottom line, E. E, what's the one below that, below in the alphabet, D, and then this one is a 1 ledger line. The only one below there is a C, because it's E, D, C. C, D, E, D, C. How do I play a C? Well, for a clarinet, left hand, thumb, 1, 2, 3. C, D, that's a D, thumb 1, 2. How do I play that one? E, thumb 1, D, thumb 1, 2, C, thumb 1, 2, 3. And then the rhythm, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you just need to break it up into those 3 parts and go over and over it until you can do it quicker, and then your brain and your muscles will start remembering for you. On the alto saxophone, G, every good boy does fine. So that's a G, every good. Space, F-A-C-E, F-A. That's an A. Every good boy, that's a B. And then there's that same one there. That was an A. So that one must be an A. And then this is a G, every good. How do you play on a saxophone? Well, with the thumb 1, 2, 3 for the G, thumb 1, 2 for the A, thumb 1 for the B, and back down and back down. So again, when you know that one, then you know that one. If you know that one, then you know that one. Everybody understand? All right, so this again is, we're putting together the name of the note, how to play it, and then how long to play it. Quarter, 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 half note, 3, 4. So that's what that 5-note scale page is all about, making sure you know the names of the notes and making sure you know how to read them and play them. The trumpet's the same thing as we had with the clarinet a while ago. C, D, E, D, C, C, D, 1 and 3, E, 1 and 2, D, 1 and 3, C, open. Okay, so we'll get those there. All right, then we have the trombone. Trombone, now we're doing the bass clef. Bass clef, we have, good boys do fine always. That's a line note. Good boys do fine always. Good boys. That's a B, and it's a flat in front of it, and we read left to right, so that's a flat B, or what we say a B flat. B flat is first position. All cows eat grass. All cows, that's a C. C is sixth position, full arm out. And then here, back to line notes again. Good boys do, that's a D note. Good boys do. D happens to be a fourth position, which has just a little bit of silver below the bell. It's not even, your hand's not even with the bell, it's a little bit further than that. And then back to C6 full arm and B flat 1, which is all the way in. Quarter, 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 half note, 3, 4. So 1, 6, 4, 6, 1, 3, 4. So this is not difficult. It's just trying to do all of it at one time, which makes it difficult at the beginning, but then it gets easier. Here we go again with the ledger lines. And we finally see one below here. So we know that the bottom line is E, every good boy does fine. Then we're going down to the space, that's a D. The single ledger line is a C. And this is actually the space below the ledger line, so that's a space there. We just got to memorize these. Anything below the actual clefs or above the clefs, you just have to memorize it for right now. So we're going backwards from E, D, C, B. It's got the flat on the B, but remember over here, this has a flat as well, but it's not down there. It's actually on the every good boy does fine line, so that's an E flat. There's your B flat. There's your E flat. So on the bells, we go, wait, C and D is where we put our left, right, and mallet and our right mallet. So it was when we reach across to the B flat, right on the B flat, left on the C, right on the D, left on the C, right on the B flat across. Okay? So remember, there's 3 things you're trying to figure out. If you're having trouble, you need to come back to that and go, what am I having trouble with on this? Am I having trouble with figuring out the name of it? Am I having trouble how to play that note, or am I having trouble figuring out how long to play that note? This is note names. Every good boy does fine, F-A-C-E, or bass clef is good boys do fine always, all cows eat grass. Playing it, well, that's what that 5 and 7 note scale page is, also on page 6 of your book, page 8 of your book, and page 10 and 11 of your book. How long? That's the rhythms we've been working on, including page 43. So figure out what you're having trouble with, work on that, and then put them together slowly. It takes time. If you didn't practice this for 3 or 4 weeks, you're not going to be able to get it back in 2 or 3 days. It's going to take you 3 or 4 weeks to get really comfortable with this. Take your time, read one note at a time, one note at a time, one note at a time. Then your brain and your muscles will, if you'll do it every day, your brain and your muscles will figure it out. Okay, so if you have trouble with one of these, then talk to your teacher about how they can help you with that as well. All right, play every day, everything gets easier. Play every day, everything gets easier. Don't play every day, and everything gets harder. Okay, all right, have a good day. Keep practicing. Bye.